In this video, we will be discussing about radial artery. We will discuss about the extent and course of radial artery, relations of the artery, the branches of radial artery. We will draw the diagram, and at last we will discuss a few MCQs from this topic. First of all, we will deal with the extent and course of radial artery. So, extent and course. For that, we will draw the diagram. We know that radial artery is one of the terminal branches of brachial artery. So the brachial artery passes like this, and after reaching the elbow at the level of neck of radius, it divides into two terminal branches. So the lateral one is known as the radial artery. So the radial artery starts at the level of neck of radius. So this is neck of radius. And the artery passes laterally in the forearm with a lateral convexity. Passes like this, and on its way in the forearm it gives branches, and at the level of radial styloid it deviates posteriorly to enter the anatomical snub box, and it becomes the content of anatomical snub box. And it lies on the floor of the anatomical snub box, and after passing through the first dorsal interossei, it enters the palm and continues as the deep palmar arch. So the extent is from the neck of radius to the proximal part of first intermetacarpal space, or proximal part of first interosseous space. Proximal part of first interosseous space or first intermetacarpal space. Intermetacarpal space or first interosseous space. So at the level of the neck of the radius, the artery arises as a branch of the brachial artery, and it passes downwards with a lateral convexity on the lateral aspect of the forearm. At the level of radial styloid, it deviates posteriorly to enter the anatomical snub box. In the anatomical snub box, it becomes a content of anatomical snub box, and it reaches the floor of anatomical snub box, and it pierces the first dorsal interossei, and it enters the palm. In the palm, it lies deep to the adductor pollicis muscle, and it continues as the deep palmar arch. So during its course in the proximal part of the forearm, it is lying deep to the brachioradialis. It is under the cover of brachioradialis muscle. But in the distal part of the forearm, the artery is superficial. It is not covered by any muscle. That is, it is covered only by the skin, superficial fascia and deep fascia. So artery is superficial in the distal part of the forearm. Courses like this. It is superficial in distal forearm. In the proximal part, it is covered by the brachioradialis muscle. That's about the extent and course of artery. So it extends from the neck of radius to the proximal part of first intermetacarpal space or first interosseous space. Then we'll discuss about the relations of the artery. So first of all, we'll discuss about the posterior relations of the artery. So posterior relations are, we look at a structure here, which is this is what, tendon of biceps tendon, and there's another muscle here which is located in the upper part of the radius. This muscle is supinator muscle, and the muscle is located here as a flexor pollicis longus, which is a flexor of the thumb. Muscle here, muscle which is attached here. This is pronator teres muscle. Another deep muscle here. This is pronator quadratus muscle. Pronator quadratus muscle. Then flexor of fingers, which is a flexor digitorum superficialis. Flexor digitorum superficialis. The radial artery passes above all these structures. So all these structures will form the posterior relation of the artery. So next we will be discussing about the anterior relation of the artery. So we know that the radial artery passes like this. The anterior relation is formed by the brachioradialis muscle, which covers the artery like this in the upper part. So in the upper part, the artery passes under the cover of brachioradialis muscle. In the lower part, it is superficial, it is not covered by any muscle. So the structures which are lying anterior to the artery in the lower part of the foramen is skin superficial fascia fascia. So anterior relations in the forearm are in upper part, it is brachioradialis muscle. It is brachioradialis muscle. In lower part, artery superficial does not cover any muscle. Skin, superficial fascia and deep fascia covers the muscle. Skin, superficial fascia and deep fascia. We know that at the level of radial sternum in the lower part of the forearm, it deviates backwards and enters the anatomical snub box. So what are the relations, anterior relations in the anatomical snub box? So we know that the artery is passing in the anatomical snub box. At first, the artery passes deep to the abductor pollicis longus and the extensor pollicis brevis. Then it passes deep to the extensor pollicis longus tendon. Then it enters the floor of the anatomical snub box, and in the floor of the anatomical snub box, the cephalic vein lies over it. So the anterior relation in the anatomical snub box are extensor pollicis brevis, abductor pollicis longus, extensor pollicis longus, and cephalic vein, and it lies over the scaphoid and trapezium here. Then after this, it passes through the first dorsal interossea and enters the palm. In the palm, it passes under the adductor pollicis muscle. So anterior relation in the palm is adductor pollicis muscle and the flexor tendons. That's all about the anterior relation. Now look at the lateral relation. So the lateral relation is definitely formed by the brachioradialis in the upper part, and the lower part, the tendon of this muscle forms the lateral relation of the artery, and in the middle of the forearm, the lateral relation is formed by the radial nerve. In the middle, it is formed by the radial nerve. So after this, the radial nerve passes deep to the brachioradialis. So only in the middle third of the forearm, the radial nerve passes lateral to the artery and forms a lateral relation of the artery. So lateral relation is formed by brachioradialis and tendon of brachioradialis. This is in the upper part. Tendon of brachioradialis, lower part. And important one is radial nerve in middle of forearm. These are the lateral relation. Then look at the medial relation of the artery. Medial relation is formed by, first of all, we know that there is a pronator teres muscle which is passing over the artery, which forms the anterior relation. It will definitely form the medial relation of the artery in the upper part. This is the pronator teres muscle. And there is, in the lower part, we see that there is a tendon of the flexor carpi radialis muscle which is passing medial to the artery. So medial relation is formed by the pronator teres muscle in the upper part and the tendon of flexor carpi radialis muscle in the lower part. This is flexor carpi radialis. This is pronator teres. This is radial nerve. So medial relation is formed by pronator teres in upper part and tendon of flexor carpi radialis in lower part. So we palpate for the radial artery pulsations in the lower part of the radius, just lateral to the tendon of flexor carpi radialis. So these are the relations of the artery. Now we will discuss about the branches of the artery. Branches. Draw the diagram. The radial artery passes like this, passing from the neck of radius downwards with the lateral convexity like this. So at the level of elbow, it gives out its first branch, that is the recurrent radial artery. This is the recurrent radial artery which anastomoses with the radial collateral artery, which is a branch of profunda brachial artery. So there is the first branch at elbow, that is just below the elbow. It gives a branch which is known as recurrent radial artery, which anastomoses with the radial collateral, branch of profunda brachial artery. That's one branch. And second branch, I give so muscular branches to the muscles of the lateral aspect of the forearm. So these are the muscular branches. Like I have muscular branches. Next, at the level of the lower part of the forearm, before reaching the wrist, it gives out branches like that is. There is a palmar carpal branch of radial artery which anastomoses with the palmar carpal branch of ulnar artery. So this is palmar carpal branch. Palmar carpal branch. Third one. Second one. So first branch. And it also gives out, this is the palmar carpal. Now the rest, it gives a dorsal carpal branch also, which anastomoses with the dorsal carpal branch of ulnar artery. So there is a dorsal carpal branch. And then before leaving the forearm, it gives out a branch which is known as the superficial palmar branch. This is called, labeled as Y. That is the superficial palmar branch of radial artery. Palmar branch which completes the formation of the superficial palmar arch with the superficial palmar branch of ulnar artery, which takes part in the formation of superficial palmar arch. Then the radial artery, passes posteriorly and enters the anatomical snub box. Before entering the anatomical snub box, it also gives out a branch which is known as, that is sixth branch, that is known as the first dorsal metacarpal artery. First dorsal metacarpal artery. Then the artery, it passes through the first dorsal interossea and enters the palm. In the palm, it gives out two branches. One is the principal pollicis, which supplies the thumb, and also the radialis indicis, which supplies the radial aspect of the index finger. So these are 7 and 8. 7 as princeps pollicis, which supplies the thumb, princeps pollicis, and radialis indicis, which supplies the radial aspect of index finger, radialis indicis, which supplies the radial aspect of index finger. And after this, it passes deep to the adductor pollicis muscle and continues as the deep palmar arch. Continues as deep palmar arch. So these are the branches of radial artery. Now we will discuss a few MCQs from this section. First of all, this is a branch of radial artery. First option, androecious artery, which is a branch of ulnar artery. Ulnar recurrent artery, which is also a branch of ulnar artery. Radial collateral artery. Radial collateral artery is a branch of profunda brachii artery, which anastomoses with the recurrent radial artery, which is a branch of radial artery. So option D, recurrent radial artery, is a branch of radial artery. So option D is the right answer. Question number 2. Which one of this is the content of anatomical snub box? We know that the only content of anatomical snub box is radial artery. So option C, radial artery, is the correct answer. Question number 3. Which structure forms a lateral relation of the artery in the middle of forearm? So we have discussed that in the middle of forearm, the radial nerve forms a lateral relation of radial artery. So option D, radial nerve, is the correct answer. And next question, question number 4. The radial artery pulsation is felt lateral to which tendon? We know that in the lower part of the forearm, the medial relation of radial artery is found with the tendon of flexor carpi radialis. So in the lower part of forearm, at the level of lower end of radius, we palpate for the radial artery pulsation just lateral to the tendon of flexor carpi radialis. So option B, flexor carpi radialis, is the right answer. And question number 5. Which branch of radial artery takes part in anastomosis around the elbow? We know that recurrent radial artery is a branch of radial artery which anastomoses with the radial collateral branch of profunda brachial artery. So option A, recurrent radial artery, is the right answer. So that's all about radial artery. Thank you for watching this video. To see more videos from my channel, please subscribe our channel. Thank you.